So many of you all have heard of the Gina Carano situation that's been going on for quite a while now, for about a few weeks. Long story short, because it is quite a bit of a, for lack of a better term, a journey. She was fired from the Mandalorian for making quote unquote abhorrent tweets comparing Republicans to victims of Nazi Germany, or kind of more specific, the Jews. Now, when I first heard about it, I knew that she kind of had some friction with Disney and with the Twitter mob for a while now. You know, I see her fire Gina Carano trending on Twitter. I'm like, what's going on over there now? Whether or not you believe what she said was offensive or kind of off color or distasteful, that's kind of up to you to decide. I can't really say whether or not you should or should not be offended, because I can't really tell you how you should feel at a certain point of time. And so I saw that interview that she did with Ben Shapiro, and I can really tell she's really shaken up about what's been happening to her, and about what she's been really having to deal with on her side of the fence. It made it a lot more evident about how much she was really putting up, and how Disney kind of just put her under a magnifying glass and try to pressure her in doing things that she necessarily didn't want to do or didn't feel comfortable doing. And she felt as if people are turning against her because of her views. And she compared the situation that she was going through, as well as probably many others, to the German neighbors turning against the Jews before the Nazis ever even got to them. In essence, her getting fired by Disney proved her point. She was given an opportunity to say anything about Pedro Pascal, or perhaps anybody else from the other side of the fence who pretty much done the same thing she did or was accused of doing, and yet suffered no repercussions. And she didn't take the opportunity to thrash on Pedro Pascal. She's enduring this with so much grace. There were a couple of verses that I wanted to show you all about how we should carry ourselves during times where we ourselves might endure some hardships, some backlash because of our beliefs. So the one I'm going to show you is from 1 Peter 3:9-14. Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing, because to this you are called, so that you may inherit the blessing. For whoever will love life and see good days must keep their tongue from evil and their lips from deceitful speech. They must turn from evil and do good. They must seek peace and pursue it. For the eye of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their prayer. But the face of the Lord against those who do evil. Who's going to do harm you if you eager to do good? Because even if you should suffer for what is right, you are blessed. Do not fear their threats. Do not be frightened. The first 300 years of Christianity growing was them being martyred for the faith in America, where even though there are people who are hostile to the gospel, we're still able to be Christians over here, in places like China and India, where people are getting killed and being dragged out of their homes. In Nigeria, people getting beheaded because they follow Jesus. And why would Peter tell us to bless our enemies, to pray for them, to not return evil for evil? Because there's something greater at stake, and it's that person's soul. Many people might turn to the faith because of how we treat them. Many people turn away from the faith because of how we treat them. And it's not an easy thing. It's not easy to sit there and let people malign you and let people persecute you and curse you and all that stuff. I get it. It's not easy at all. But it really makes me think about, man, like, God gives so much grace to people to correct themselves. God's not going to look at what other people did to us. He's going to look at how we respond to that. And God is going to deal with them. God's going to deal with them later. Vengeance is the Lord's. Vengeance is God's. He will repay. You know, in some instances, it's comforting, in others, it's not, considering that his vengeance could be for somebody in eternity in hell. And I don't want anybody to go to hell. God doesn't want anybody to go to hell. People send themselves to hell because they refuse to take upon the gift that God has given each and every one of us, an opportunity to receive the gift of salvation, the gift of forgiveness through the life, death, and resurrection of Christ. When Simon Peter cut off the ear of that centurion, when Jesus was arrested at Gethsemane, you know what Jesus did? He gave another ear to the centurion. And he told Peter, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, in hopes that his love and kindness will cause people to repentance. That's the end goal. There's probably a lot of people who are Christians now because of the grace that a believer showed them, despite how that person might have treated that believer. And that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes of who God is and the strength that it takes for somebody to do that. That's not easy. It's not. Gina, if you're ever going to watch this, I don't know you will, because this is only the second video of my channel and I'm not getting a lot of views, so I'm not sure. But if you are going to watch this, by any chance that you will, I just want to let you know that, you know, your endurance is really admirable. And it really teaches me as a Christian that I need to be more like that in terms of standing up for the truth, you know. There's a lot to lose in doing what you're doing. And by seeing what's been happening with you, it's kind of crazy, you know. And there's a lot to lose when following Christ. And it just really reminds me that at the end of the day, God will give us enough strength to endure, to go through the fire, as the scriptures would say. But out of that fire, through that fire, we become pure. Gold doesn't reach a certain amount of purity unless it's go through fire and all that junk is burned off. And so I'm really praying for you. I'm really praying for your situation, your heart, your health, your sanity. You know, this is just a trial in your life, and on the other side of it, you'll become stronger. All right, guys, I'm gonna go in this video. Hope you guys have a blessed one, and until next time, bye.